Hi, everybody. Yay. Happy new moon in Gemini. And not Gemini, Cancer. I was reading something earlier where it said new moon in Gemini. So I don't know whether that is in America, but in the UK, we're in Cancer at the moment. So just put in a comment if you're feeling the new moon energy today. How is it affecting you? Like often, like we're told in these readings, like what it is we should be feeling, and that can be really interesting just to know how things are aligned and what might be going on. But sometimes like it doesn't like relate to where you are in your life at the moment. So I just want you to put in the comments how you are feeling, because the whole purpose like of this group, of the work that I do, is really to bring you closer to your intuition. And that's your true intuition, like your true north. And I've been reading a lot on astrology recently. It's quite interesting because there's been a shift in the nodes, so in the alignment, and like the south node and the north node, if any of you like are aware of astrology. And I won't go too much into it because I'm not an astrologist. I'm just talking about it because it's really interesting to know like some of these shifts that are taking place at the moment, and just seeing if they do like awaken something in you, or do kind of give you a little bit of an insight to things that have been going on in your life right now. And one of these like big shifts that has taken place this month is that like our south node and our north node has moved quite significantly in the chart. And like our journey of south node to north node is from where we have come from. So this is our past lifetimes in the south, like where we're most comfortable, like where our soul has spent so many lifetimes and where we feel really at ease, and is also where our gifts are. And then our north node is where like we want to bring those gifts, like what is our path for this lifetime. And it can be really confusing for like a lot of spiritual workers especially. And I'm speaking for myself because like I spent like most of my life kind of traveling, living in ashrams, kind of doing spiritual teachings. And I read a book actually about the south to north node, and realized that my south node was Pisces. And I had spent lifetimes kind of in monasteries, in ashrams, in retreats. And that was where I felt most at home. But actually my north node was about actually taking action. It was moving into Virgo, which is a really strong sign of taking action, being out there, being organized. And you know, I am a dreamer, but it's about like bringing those and co-creating those dreams into life. And actually that has been the journey that I have gone through in my life. So, and I also see it as like that journey of moving from the head into the womb as well. So like coming into that like real presence and intuition, and you know, taking up space in the world. So really knowing like who I am, what I want, what's really important to me, and you know, coming on like doing these lives. Like my earlier self would have been just more than happy to just be doing the practices, and I still like a lot of my life is doing these practices as well, but I feel like that really nourishes me in order to teach and to share, and to like really what I can share is my own journey and what I have learned, and how to really move from like being disconnected and kind of separated from nature and my gifts, where I was very like I was like a born shaman, I think, or spiritual worker, because I was able to channel, I was able to you know, I was practicing rituals and going to creative spaces and just like sacred spots, and, you know, just doing offerings in nature. And I feel like it had come like from other lifetimes. And then I lost sight of that, trying to fit into like how the world's like, you know, it's not healthy actually. And it took me a long time in order to come back to my truth and my gifts, and, you know, to live my life from my soul, from what is important to me. And really the gift that I can give you is to help you to do that for you. So to know what your path is, what your gifts are, and they're going to be truly unique to you, and how to move from the mind into the body so that you can really begin to liberate yourself. And I've done a lot of training as well in like somatic work and trauma release, neuroscience and energy work. And I've done a lot and practicing of it in my own life. And these gifts really work. These tools really work, but it's also like finding your own way. And I see a lot like that, like even today, like I was just having a look on Facebook, you know, just like you do, you just like open up and it's there. And like what came up was like on my feed, and I don't even follow this person, but they'd got like a lot of like reaction on like a polarizing comment that they do. Like I think this is really common in like social media, like people put in polarizing comments so that they can get lots and lots of people to respond. And this one was by a man, kind of like telling first women how they should know and communicate about men, but also men about how they should treat women. And one of them was like not taking a woman out for dinner on the first date. And I feel like we have all kind of got used to following the advice, especially for women, following the advice of men, like telling us like what we should and shouldn't do and how we shouldn't feel about ourselves, our bodies, what we want and what we desire. And even for something as small as like going out on a date, but maybe going out on a date is how you approach like all of life. And if you can approach things from your stillness and from your center, like you can decide in the moment, like you can truly know from someone's energy when you've really like cleared your own energy and really understand yourself. You can start to intuit things more clearly. So you can start to really pick up on other people's energies, and you can start that communication like through their energy. And it can be something as simple as like when someone hasn't got your best interest in heart, you can really feel like a closing down feeling in your body, compared to like people who make you feel really soulful and kind of bring out that love and that best of you, and that really radiates. I mean, sometimes there are people who are pretending to do that, but intuitively you really know the difference. And through that you can decide about dating, you can decide about how you feel when you're on dates. And this is when you're interacting with other people as well, with their energy. How are you feeling? What is that they're creating this feeling within you? And the closer that you, and this is the same for soul aligned work as well, and like the decisions that you make in your life, the more and more that you can come into that stillness, the more that you can start making those aligned choices and know what really is that true north versus that pull that comes from all these unconscious like patternings, trauma bonds, kind of not real, where it's actually your thoughts creating it. And I just wanted to mention that because today is new moon, and it's all about our thoughts and like the seeds of the intentions that we bring in our lives. And it's so important to become like the co-creator of your life, rather than like feeling like a victim in your life, where you feel as though like you don't have a choice, you know, in your life, where you feel like you don't have control. And actually, like, you create all your thoughts and all your decisions and make all your choices. So unless like you're in prison, or unless you're in a country where women aren't allowed to do this, but still, like, no one can control your thoughts. So you have that ultimate power for whether you choose thoughts that are fear-based or thoughts which are love-based. And so for this Monday's new moon manifestation and soul medicine, with the new moon in Cancer, and with our North Node, like our path at the moment, which is in Aries, which is really fiery about transformation and change and taking action, you know, having this dynamic shift to really come into your soul path and just release everything that is not true, so you can really make these soul decisions. And big shifts are taking place, and within your life you could make these little micro shifts in how you choose to respond to things, how you choose to relate to yourself, that will snowball and then create like a massive change in your life, you know. And I wanted to really come in to motivate you, because if you're doing this, you can't always see it straight away. Like some people do, like some people say like they start these money manifestations and become like millionaires overnight. But for a lot of people, it's really subtle how you start to change a thought or a pattern, and how things then begin to like snowball. Like if you imagine this one shift with this like rolling piece of snow, and how it gets bigger and bigger, and then suddenly like a massive like transformation and change happens. And for a lot of people, it's more like that. So I wanted to kind of come on today to just help you become a little bit clearer on your soul path, because that's the work and the medicine where my gifts are. And, you know, I want to share with you a story as well, which I'll do, and also like just a motivation on how like whatever is happening in your life at the moment, because astrologically, like there's big transformations happening, and you could see this in your life as like job loss, loss of family. It could be like a big change in your work. It could be like a big change and upheaval in your relationships. And if this is happening, it's about like helping you to discover the gifts and realign to your truth. They're opportunities to know your soul at a deeper level. And within them, they contain these seeds to awakening, like awakening to the truth of who you are, why you're here. And with this new moon in Cancer, like it's really calling for us to be mindful of the way we think and communicate, and the small choices that we make. And just to make sure that these like little balls of snow that are escalating are really leading us to where we want to go. So, because it's much harder to put the brakes on momentum. And so when you're thinking about like stepping into your soul aligned path, your highest destiny, if your life is moving rapidly based on like the thoughts, the choices, the decisions, it can be really hard to change like course of direction. So if you keep feeding into where you want to go, then that is going to take off for you. And just like have a little think about the decisions that you make, and are these, and the thoughts that you have, and are these made in fear or in love? And like an example could be like, you know, if you're in your soul path work, like going to do a live, You know, is there an excuse there? Like, is there a fear of showing up and just talking live? Or, you know, if you want to meet your soul partner and like you see someone you like, do you find that you hold back, or, you know, are you able to smile and just embrace the moment? And the same for like joining something new or reaching out to somebody who you like to go for a drink with, a potential like friend or someone you want to work with in the future. You know, do you create excuses, or do you kind of step into things with like an expectation of like something positive? So like a love-based thought that, you know, your motivations for doing something, because these are genuine feelings and genuine expressions and desires, you know, and oftentimes we're told that they're wrong or to shut them down. But actually, you know, what is more like beautiful and self-expressed is to show yourself, to show your feelings, to show like your desires in life. So if you're relating to this, just put in a comment like a time that you've perhaps done the opposite of what you wanted to do, or you held back when you really wanted to say something. I'm sure like many of you in the group can relate to something like this. And these are like those micro choices. So when you start to come across something in your life where you find yourself giving an excuse, just spend a time to get really still so that you can really feel into what is the love choice, what is your real desire around this. So not the thoughts in your head that you'll tell yourself, but your real desire. What do you really want? And what is that choice that feels more nurturing, feels more honoring, feels more loving, that is moving you towards that destiny that you want, you know? So I'm gonna like use an example. And I was thinking about like weight loss, because it's quite like an easy example, and we're approaching the summer, and maybe some of you have like desired to lose a little bit of weight, and like you feel that that's your desire, is to lose weight. But maybe the real underlying desire is to feel good about yourself. And in order to feel good about yourself, that is something that you can create right now in the moment, of feeling good about yourself, feeling good about your body, really looking for those like the positives in your curves, in, you know, wearing the clothes that make you feel good, and walking in a way that makes you feel good, and eating in a way that makes you feel good. So rather than like the thought pattern, which could be like, I'm too big, I need to do this, which is that like self-shaming thoughts that then make you feel bad, lowers your energy vibration, and the thoughts that you have about yourself, and then your choices and diets reflect this. So just put like an emoji if you kind of relate to that cycle that doesn't work. So really you need to change like your energy, your beliefs, and the underlying thoughts, and really step into that highest version of feeling good about yourself now. So not that something that you're striving to achieve. And this could be like relationships, this could work for work. You know, I'm just using a really simple example here just to highlight it. And then the choices that come from, you know, how you choose to perceive yourself. And this can take like years and years to understand and achieve, but it really doesn't have to. Like when you make that intention, like especially at this new moon, to commit to yourself and to really spend time feeling into yourself and what you want and you need in your life right now. What is the most loving thing that you can do for yourself? What is your most truest desire? Where is your guidance and intuition telling you to go? And what unconscious patterns do you need to change in order to really be in that energy and frequency of what you want? And this new moon is really going to help you right now to cultivate those seeds that you want to plant, because the seeds that you plant today will be your tomorrow. So thinking back to that snowball, and what do you desire that tomorrow to look like so that you can feed it today? So in the comments, I'd love for you to put, like, what is most important to you in your life right now? What version of yourself would you like to see in the world tomorrow? And it all starts right now, as you create your thoughts right now in this moment, and you start nurturing yourself and making these conscious choices. And you can really alchemize any situation in your life, and it really gives you that power, that power from choosing what is right for you, not what you think you desire, like your magnetic north, but what you really desire, what you really want, and making those aligned choices right now. And so I was going to tell you a story about me to help you, and I hope that it's really helpful. And within my life, I've, consciously created, and whenever I've unconsciously created, sometimes these manifests years later, and I'm like, oh, I am in that job that I wanted a few years ago. But conscious creation is from this really still place, and we're all manifesting, we're all consciously creating all the time. We are all energetic beings, and therefore we all have the choice on how we show up and our energy and what we choose. And so one area in my life that I consciously created, where I was told it was unlikely, was having children. Another is creating my own soul work, so following my own path. And I've done lots of different trainings, but actually I've created my own based on what has helped me and what has most nurturing to me as a woman. And becoming a homeowner as a single mum, I live in a very lovely part of the world, and I'm really lucky. And and how I use it, I've undergone childhood trauma in my life, and I've alchemized this, but it took me a long time to learn how. I did many practices, many trainings, much learning, and I found out what works to do that, and I've been able to use it since in other areas of my life. So one area which I thought I'd share with you, just to help you to know how that you can create this in your life, so you can really step into your highest calling and create a beautiful path now on your journey. And I have many stories, but I'm going to share this one, and the one that I'm going to use today is the end of my last relationship with my children's father, who I lived with for 8 years and also knew and worked with for 10. And he had an affair over a year. And when this came to light, and it didn't come to light straight away, because I think my intuition wanted to protect me from it because I had children. But there was a part of me that was aware. And when I allowed myself to fully become aware of it, and despite, this person who I thought I knew really well, who continued lying actually afterwards, and just creating this illusion around it, all I knew what to do with the work that I did was to look within myself. So not to try to discover this other person's thinking or their mindset or anything about that, just to really come into the truth of the moment and to go through all the emotions, the grief, allow myself to cry, do whatever I felt was needed, and journaling, but not create the additional suffering of the mind, which is where you look outside of yourself and you compare, you analyze, you're in the head, and the head loves these like stories that it can create. And with any event in your life, you can change it. And I don't mean by like stuffing down the feelings, I mean by fully feeling them and expressing them, but by choosing to love, to nourish yourself, to give yourself what you need, and to take really aligned steps. Because like we all change over like the course of our life, and you can choose whether you wish to make an experience like an awakening one, like a beautiful, like soul journey, like a sacred journey. So if for example, you have like two people meditating, and one person can be like in their heads thinking about like shopping or something, and somebody else can be really connected to their soul and their body and having this truly like sacred experience. And it's where you put your energy. And I really feel like the womb healing and the womb awakening is really transformational for that. And it's a big part of the work that I teach, as well as finding out that highest destiny line so that you can start inhabiting it today. And just then with the womb awakening, releasing those traumas and coming back to your sacredness. And, you know, that's allowed me to have a beautiful life. And yeah, this was made really clear to me actually recently when I was chatting to a friend whose husband had done a similar thing, you know, and years and years later, like her friend was really bitter, you know, really unaccepting of what had happened, you know, and, you know, not seeing the fairness, and was really stuck in like in what had happened, you know, the whole situation, the trauma of the event. And she was not living her happy life, you know, her soul life. She had not met her person, you know, who was not going to treat her that way. She was not living a life that she was enjoying. Her life was focused on the past and this other person, rather than allowing herself the sweetness as well. So the grief is important, but so is the sweetness and the soul work and the beauty. And really, I know that you can change anything if you want to in your life, because I know, because I have done it and I have seen other people do it as well. And there is no need to stay stuck. It's all within this moment by moment experience. And how do you want this experience to be? Because whatever you're choosing to experience now is what is going to be snowballing into the future. And I really wanted to share this with you for the new moon, because it's really important, like astrologically, and it's also an opportunity for you to really give birth to the life that you want to now, not only through dreaming, but through the choices, the thoughts, the actions that you make. So I'd love to know, like, what do you want to create in your life? Please put in the comments, and I'd love to hear from you. And if you find it hard to know what you really want, like maybe your intuition is really clouded and you feel really stuck and in your head, and you can get your true north confused with the magnetic one, you know, and find yourself making unaligned choices that you think were aligned because they're based on like those false beliefs. And you want to change that and really step into that newest version of your life now. I'm going to put my contact in the comments so that you can book your free soul mapping call with me today. So you can really start to step into your most highest and aligned version of you, and just let go of all that thought baggage, you know, the thoughts that are telling you that you can't do it, those fear-based thoughts that we talked about earlier, and really start to create something that is beautiful for you right now, that is really a new way of relating to yourself and your life, and just prevent yourself from being stuck, you know, like for more years, where you know, you have the choice to make something really beautiful. So I wanted to share that with you today, and just leave you with, like, on this new moon, just take a little bit of time to have a candle and a stick, and just really tune in to what seeds you want to create in your life right now. And I'd love to hear from you. All right, lots of love, everybody. Bye-bye.